Welcome to the Oddity Shop, where the bizarre is always on sale.
Welcome in, you oddballs. This is the Oddity Shop. I'm your curator, Kara, and this is your other curator, Zach, who just burped in my face.
Hey, listen, it's better out than in, and I got it out before we started recording. But anyways,
Whoa,
welcome.
What is this?
Yeah, Kara's sitting here with, like, face masks on, eye things. You look great.
Eye masks.
Anyways, this is the podcast where we tell you creepy, odd, weird, strange, bizarre stories from around the world. How was your weekend? We're recording at the end of a weekend instead of the end of a week, so a little bit different.
I worked. So
very exciting. Very exciting. Nick actually came out this weekend. It's the first time we've seen each other since Christmas. We just kind of took a chill January of no traveling back and forth, so we got to kind of celebrate our 2-year anniversary.
A little hiatus. I can't believe it's already been that
2
long.
years. I know.
No.
The fact that he's put up with me for 2 years.
That's not what I meant, but yes. But what I meant was, it doesn't seem like it's almost February and you've already done a hiatus in January. Like, it doesn't feel like that.
I know.
But yes, it also doesn't feel like 2 years.
That's true. It was a nice weekend, though. It was very chill. We went out and ate a lot of food, went for a couple coffee walks, and then just chilled.
That's perfect. That sounds like a good 2-year little anniversary date thing. I like that. That's cute.
That was great.
Cute.
Yeah.
Okay. I have something that I'm pretty sure I heard from Tenny say, and it's not even that deep, but it's like really been racking my brain.
Oh God.
Okay. But it's not even deep. Like, it shouldn't even be this thing. Okay. So UFO, what does it stand for?
Unidentified flying object. I was swallowing a drink,
ask
so
you
there was
while you took
no
a drink.
consequence or consonants. God.
It's okay. Okay. So if you see a UFO, then you've identified it. So now it's just an FO. Okay. But if it lands and you identify it, then it's just an O.
I mean, I did see that, and I do get the joke. I like it, but it's still, just because you see it doesn't mean it's identified.
Yeah. If you identify it as a UFO. If you see a UFO, you identify it as a UFO, then it's just an FO. If it's not flying object.
Okay.
If you then identify it and it's not flying, then it's just an object.
That is true.
Why? There needs to be a different name. This is stupid. And I don't know why, but it was like getting me a little like.
What would you call it then? What's the other name?
I have no idea.
You spent how much time on this weekend and you didn't even come up with an alternative?
No, I didn't think of a name. I just heard him say it. I thought about how it's like, that is so true. This is, why didn't somebody else, not me, come up with a different name?
Nice.
Ay.
All right. I can dig it. All I've really got for you is, and I started telling you before we recorded, I should have waited, but my new TV binging has been Love on the Spectrum, because they dropped a new season. It is honestly like just the cutest show I've ever seen. It's so wholesome. And like, I think one of the coolest parts is seeing how, like, so it's helping them like get out and into the dating world, people who are on the autism spectrum. But like, their parents are all so supportive and like helping them get ready and stuff. And it's just like, it is the most feel good, cute show.
That's so cute.
You need to watch it. In the newest season, there's this one kid named Tanner who's just always so freaking like excited all the time, and he's just like, he's the best. You're gonna fall in love with him.
I know, but sometimes too much feel good. I could just cry the whole time, and then it's just like, I know it's
you
a
totally
feel good
would
cry. Okay, so then this is my other thing, which is perfectly goes into what we're just talking about as far as like crying. So on my way home from work, I listened to, so obviously we're past this, but today, which is January 28th, Two Girls One Ghost dropped a new episode. So I was listening to it on the way home, and in the, so they kind of talk before, like we do, right? Like most people do. So Corinne has this mug in her hand, right? Because Sabrina goes, "Does your mug say mom?" And then it just stops. And like Sabrina says nothing. Wait, did I say Sabrina? Yeah, Sabrina says, "Does your mug say mom?" And then Sabrina says nothing because she just like doesn't know what's going on. And then Corinne just like so nonchalant and just like even keeled goes, "I'm with child." And then it does. Yeah, but it does. Then they don't say anything for a really long time because I don't think Sabrina knew what to do. And then she goes, this is how I'm telling you I'm pregnant. And it was so cute. But then honestly, that episode, hilarious. I didn't even get through the episode because that whole portion was probably 35 minutes because Sabrina just couldn't get over it. And it was so cute. And I'm like, it was wholesome. And then I started crying.
That's a great announcement.
So if I cried over that.
You've been listening to much more wholesome podcasts than I have. I've been on a really big, I've had it binge this weekend.
Oh, yeah.
And Jennifer and Pumps just have me constantly like crying laughing. That is one of the best podcasts I have ever listened to. You do.
All right. Well, how about we get into our podcast so that people can listen to what they actually wanted to listen to?
Are you ready for a question?
Hit me with it.
Hit me with your best shot.
I was going to do that.
I know. That's why I had to beat you to it. So beyond controlling the tides, do you think that the moon has any effect on our lives?
I'm going to say yes. But if you ask me why, I don't have an answer. But yes, I do.
Do you want the psych response to that of, well, if you knew, pretend that you knew the answer and throw out a why?
No. I would just say no.
All right, fair. Well, on people who aren't as defensive as you, the psych trick sometimes works.
Sometimes, right.
All right. Well, this week, as you and me, I feel like we've been getting more and more into all the oddity shit. We have also gotten probably a little bit more metaphysical, a little bit spiritual. So I wanted to tell you about the difference in the moon phases with some fun moon facts in there. And then we'll finish it up with some oddity stuff around the moon. Are you
I am ready, but my candle is going crazy.
What's it doing?
It just got really high, like a really big flame, and then like a ton of black smoke, but it's like going like this. And I was like, it caught my eye, and I was like,
it's catching that moon energy, man.
It is.
We're talking about it. See, we're already getting into a heightened scent.
I would say people don't know about what each candle.
Yes, if you're one of those witches who knows about what, I feel like there's got to be some name for Denise. Reading flames. Tell us. Yeah, Mom, let us know. Also, Mom had a message for us, by the way. I'll get it. Okay, the last side note. She wanted us to give her a shout out and say hi because it's been a minute. So hi, Denise. How are you?
Well, I just did. I said that. It's Denise.
I know. No. Well, while we're on the subject. Okay.
Hi, Denise.
So
okay.
We're getting into it. Quick bit about the moon history for you. So the moon was actually formed anywhere between 50 million and a couple billion years ago.
Okay.
Jury's kind of out. Nobody was there to see it. We're not exactly sure how it formed, but here's kind of the best guesses, or the best theories. Probably not guesses. At some point on our proto-Earth, which is like Earth pre what it looks like today, they think like a proto-Earth. They believe that a giant impact happened where another celestial body, don't ask me the difference between a celestial body and a planet, I don't know, but it crashed into our planet, and apparently this thing that crashed into us was about the size of Mars.
Well, I would think maybe like a meteor or like something that's not a planet like that.
Right, but it's the size of Mars, so I don't know why it's not a planet, but it's not.
Okay.
Anyways, it crashes into Earth. It sends a bunch of rocks and dust and debris flying into the atmosphere, then into space, which over time, while it's flying around the proto-Earth, collects together, gets all cemented together, and forms the moon.
The moon. Cool.
So fast forward either 50 million or a couple billion years, and humans start popping up and coming around. And they're all drawn to the moon pretty immediately. So throughout human history, the moon has been seen in a few different ways. Some early folks saw it as a spirit, a deity, or their actual entire god. Others thought it was another planet that was just really close to us. But kind of one of those repeating things that goes through time is that the moon was used as a tool to keep time. Being that the lunar cycle repeats itself every 29 and a half days, people would kind of notice that the cycles of the moon kind of lined up with the cycles of what we now call months or seasons and that kind of stuff too. So they were able to have like rudimentary time tracking through watching the moon phases, which we'll get into more of the whole moon phase in just a minute. You just need patience, Kara.
Okay.
But interestingly, though, the word moon and month are etymologically related back to like the same Latin root. So time and the moon. I know. I had to say it really quick because I practiced this one. I'm having a Kara moment. Etymologically.
Okay.
I like, for some reason I can say etymology without pronouncing the T, but etymologically, I got to put that hard T in there.
Etymologically. Okay, moving on.
Wow, you did it on your first try. I'm really proud of you.
Moving on.
All right, so as humanity developed, though, people start to research the strange rock, and in more of like our modern life, it's obviously seen as less of like a god and is studied a little bit more scientifically, right? And that's where, we find that the moon now, it affects tides. It can actually move rocks on Earth the same way it moves tides, and cause hormonal changes in like animals and insects. It's wild, like how far-reaching the effects of it are.
It don't make no sense. I mean, it makes sense, but it doesn't make sense.
Like the moon basically tells fish and insects when to get it on.
The moon is so cool.
So like I said, though, as we've gotten a little bit more scientific about the moon, have a better understanding, right? We don't obviously see it as a god anymore, but there's still a lot of like spiritual and metaphysical beliefs, especially when, you talk about astrology, witchcraft, paganism, philosophy, and so much more. Like they're all still heavily invested in some of the more like metaphysical or energy realms of the moon. Realm isn't the right word, but I can't find it. So that's what you get. All right. So like we were saying, though, there's some like metaphysical properties to it. So quickly, I want to run you through each of the moon phases, some of like the metaphysical properties, what it looks like. And then I got a bunch of full moon crazy stories for you.
Ooh.
And before we get into the phases, I have to say thank you because you inspired me to write this one with the ritual planner journal that you got me for Christmas.
Oh, yes. Shout out to Ritual.
It's so cool. So not only like it's a daily like tarot journal, but it also has like all the like information on the moon phases and like when to do your spreads for it.
I would say because yours is based off of the moon, where mine is just, it's a little bit different, but it's really cool. Everyone should go check it out. Yeah,
it's Ritual WRITUAL planner. They're actually awesome.
Maybe they'll sponsor us.
Maybe one day. I mean, I've been journaling for like a solid month now, which is the most I've ever done it for. And
I know.
I love it.
I do too.
All right. Okay. So back to the cycle, though. So I said earlier, a lunar cycle is about 29 and a half days, right about a month. And then each phase, so there's 8 distinct phases. Each one lasts about 3.5 days. Okay. The funny thing is, though, is like, while the phase lasts 3.5 days, there's actually like a specific minute where each phase turns, and that's like the only time it's fully in that phase. So like the full moon, right, is only actually fully the full moon for about a minute, but we still celebrate the full moon phase over 3 days, but as it's like shifting into the next phase.
Right.
Cool.
So to us, it still looks like a full moon, kind of. What's up, oddballs? If you know us, then you know by now that we absolutely love cryptids.
And we also have a serious problem when it comes to buying things, especially cute things, and now we found 16%nation.com.
Whether you're into the mysterious allure of the Loch Ness Monster or the legendary Sasquatch, 16% Nation has a plushie for every cryptid lover out there.
Named 16% Nation because only 16% of the population actually believes in Bigfoot, but they have tons of cool stuffed creatures such as the Sasquatch, the Mothman, the Fresno Nightcrawler, and so much more. Each one is crafted with an attention to detail and made from high-quality materials. So they're not just cute, they're conversation starters.
Absolutely. Picture this. You're lounging on the couch, and what's that peeking out? Oh, just your very own Fresno Nightcrawler. It's the perfect blend of mysterious and adorable.
And if stuffed animals aren't quite your thing, they have shirts, prints, jewelry, stickers, and so much more, so you also can show off your love for these bizarro creatures.
Everything they have is so adorable and right up our alley, and we wanted to make sure that we shared it with y'all cryptid-loving listeners.
So head on over to 16%nation.com. That's 16%nation.com. Their website will also be linked down in our show notes and on our website.
And listen up, oddballs. Use the coupon code Oddity, ODDITY, at checkout and enjoy free shipping on orders over $60.
Bye.
Bye.
Right. Yeah, but there's like a day and a half in, it's less full, but it's not quite to the third quarter yet. So, yeah. But that's important to like remember when energies are going to peak and fall. Okay. So we're going to start with the new moon. New moon is not the Twilight novel we're talking about. We're talking about the actual fucking new moon. I keep talking to Julia about the moon phases. She goes, "Ooh, which Stephanie Meyer book are you reading now?" I'm like, okay, not doing that. But the new moon is when there's no moon in the sky at all. And then for each phase, I'm going to give you a keyword so you can kind of remember how to ground yourself in that phase. So this one, it's 2 words, is new beginnings.
Okay.
And then from our ritual planner. So the new moon is a time of new beginnings and good starts. With each new moon, you might want to set professional plans and start realizing your intentions. It is also a time to put the past behind us and plan for the upcoming month.
Okay, so did you already give me my word?
Yes, new beginnings.
Right, so we're like vision boarding on the new moon day for what we want to be for the next.
Right. And basically the way to like kind of the overarching theme of all of it, right, is personal growth. So you have sun sign, moon sign, right? Sun sign is how others see you. The moon sign is how you see yourself. So the whole moon phase is supposed to be like a really introspective thing that you're doing. All right. So during the new moon, it's a good time to sit with yourself, do some journaling on your goals, set your intentions, like what do you want to accomplish over the next month? What things do you want to let go of? Good time to do a quick little ritual, light a candle, do some meditation, really sit with yourself.
Okay.
But this is like I said, so another metaphor, right? It's when you want to plant the seeds for the new habits or new intentions or manifestation that you want to bring about in your life. Cool?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so then we're going to get into phase number 2, which is the waxing crescent. And this is when the moon kind of looks like a little fingernail in the sky.
Okay.
But the way to know, so you have waxing and waning. So the waxing is when it looks like a backwards C. So the shadow is on the left side of the moon. You're seeing the moon on the right side of the sky if you're looking up.
Okay, backwards C. Got it. It's waxing.
Yes. So when you're waxing... You're growing, all right? Your keyword here is growth.
Wax on, wax off.
Exactly. So you're waxing on the growth right now.
Okay.
So from our planner, this period boasts energy and positivity in taking the first steps in implementing your goals and plans. Follow your dreams and have fun along the way. Mm-hmm. Spend this time breathing new life into your intentions.
Cute.
So the last, moon phase, you made your intentions. During this one, you know all your new goals and you've started your planning. So now you're trying to focus on like the action plan on how you're going to get those things done.
Okay.
So our little seeds are now starting to sprout from our last metaphor. All right.
Okay.
Then we get into the first quarter, which I feel like this is the one that always kind of throws me for a loop because the first quarter is when you see half of the moon in the sky.
Oh.
Because we went from the
I guess that makes sense because you're crescent, now you're half.
And if you think of it, we only see half the moon, so you're really only seeing a quarter of it. But it, that whole 2D to 3D thing in my brain doesn't really like to work. So like I said, half the moon in the sky, you're seeing the shadow on the left and then the visible moon on the right. And then your keyword here is action. If you want a second one, you can have commitment.
Yeah.
This moon time from our planner is filled with challenges, decisions, and actions. During this period, you may feel more motivated to work harder. Always remember your intentions, no matter how difficult this time may be. This will help you overcome any obstacles and inner resistance. So this is like the period where you're starting to get really energized by the moon, right? So your calmness of your new start is off.
I want to look at my moons.
What do we call them? The little sprouts are growing fast now. I don't know if you've ever planned anything in your life, but in that period from when you're just
lame, Kara. I don't know if you've actually ever planned anything for your life.
I mean, beats me. But, you make a plan, right? You have all your good intentions and then you start doing it. And it's really easy to get frustrated because all of a sudden nothing is working out well.
Yes.
That can happen here. So you're like highly energized, but you're also kind of hitting the obstacles along the way.
Okay. I'm just looking at the moons now on my calendar.
And yeah, there's a ton of websites too. If you guys want to look up what phase you're currently in or any of that kind of stuff, really fun. Go online, 100 different things. A couple in our show notes, you'll be able to check it out. Here though, it's like what they say it's really important to focus on is trusting yourself and your intuitions, right? Don't go back on the decisions now because things might get hard, but really, really focus on your intuitive feelings to get over it. So it's still really inward focused.
Okay.
Now we're still in waxing, but we're into the waxing gibbous now. And this is like when it starts to look like the moon's sort of dissolving, right? Like it's almost full, but you're just missing that little portion of it.
Okay.
The moon is still on the right. The shadow is still on the left, but the shadow is getting much smaller. And this is the keyword for this period is assessment.
Okay.
All right. So from the planner, noticing a trend here.
Yeah, they really need to sponsor us.
This time is about assessment, changing course, reviewing, and taking control. So at this time, the moon will help you reassess your actions and make adjustments if needed. The energy of the moon right now is helping you. Once you from the last phase, you've started to encounter some of the obstacles, right? Realize your plan might not be working to manifest what you want or bringing to fruition your intentions. So now is the time where you can like go back into planning, right? So you still have high energy, you're still moving towards your goals, but you're just like fine tuning and reassessing as you go.
Okay.
When the moon is in this energy, it's important during your meditations to remind yourself that you are constantly improving and evolving. And that with this introspection, this is a really good time to like learn more about your authentic self and also give yourself permission to like fail through things.
Okay.
Now we get into the fun one, the crazy one, when all the ERs fill up and the werewolves come out and everything goes to shit. Oh, sorry, I missed our metaphor right now. Our little plants that we planted, our little seeds, those are like large green stems now, just getting ready to just go. Cool? Okay. All right. So the full moon then, I don't think I really need to give you a description for this one. The entire moon is fully visible in the sky.
The moon is full.
Yeah. If I really have to break that down for you, we might have bigger issues to talk about. Keyword here though is harvest / celebration. 2 keywords again. So the description here is this is the most charged spiritual time of the entire cycle. This period is about revelation, reward, and change. All of your past efforts will come back to you in a bountiful harvest.
Okay.
So this is like probably the most popular phase, right? Like super, super high energy.
Well, it's the one everyone knows.
Exactly. It's also when like the biological effects of the moon are most high. So this is when you can start to see like the behaviors in fish and insects and stuff change. Animals get a little bit crazier here too. Some say more erratic acting.
Just animals?
Well, I mean, humans are animals.
I guess that's true.
The only non-metaphysical theory I could find on why people get so erratic and kind of crazy acting is because the moon is so bright, you're just sleeping less, which I don't know. That doesn't seem to track for me.
No, because I got blinds.
Exactly.
That's stretching.
There's tons of science and stuff out there. Honestly, I'm not going to get into all of it, but you can see that there's a lot of effects on animals, but we don't truly know why.
No, why? Oh, yeah. That makes sense. Okay.
Back to the metaphysical side, though. The light from the full moon is going to illuminate all the things about yourself. You're going to see the behaviors and habits that you've been bringing about are now kind of, settled in. You're about 15 days into the cycle. They're becoming habit. You're learning how to do it. On the flip side of that, though, the full moon is when all those things that you've been trying to hide about yourself and not deal with are also illuminated.
Ooh.
Right? So it's
that makes me feel like that's why people are crazy.
I think so too. I think that plays into it a little bit. Have you heard of the term like shadow work much at all?
Yes.
So your shadow self is not always, it can have negative connotations, but it's not always like the dark side. It's just all those things that you're not dealing with that kind of come up in either frustration or anxieties or acting out, whatever.
I think shadow does sound dark because you think of like shadow people, shadow whatever. I think It does. Like you said, it kind of feels more dark. But yeah, when you're doing like more shadow work and stuff like that, it's more
shadow work. It's still very introspective. It's just about the things that like you maybe don't want to face or deal with. But during the full moon, they come out. So it's interesting. You kind of have a dichotomy here. On one, your little plants, they're now fully bloomed. You're ready to harvest of everything you've been working on.
Right.
But at the same time, while the energy is still really high and you're celebrating all that, some of these things are coming to the surface that it might be a good time to deal with.
Right, that you were maybe pushing down.
Exactly. So we talked about a little bit of a ritual during the new moon. The full moon is another one to do that. And less about meditating and visualizing your intentions. This one's more of look back, right? And figure out, okay, how far did I come? Are these things working? Are they not working? Pay attention, though, to those things that are popping up, right? The things you might not really like that are going on in your life still.
Okay.
And this is a good time to work on trying to release some of that, right? Okay. So if maybe you didn't build quite the habits you wanted, or you've brought some stuff over from the last lunar cycle, you're starting to realize that now, like, it's a good time to work on both continuing the goals you had and releasing and letting go of a ton of stuff.
Okay.
Couple of different rituals you can do here. One is a cleansing bath, because the full moon energy is a great time to cleanse away negativity. So you can put some like herbs and oils in your bath, light some candles, bring some crystals with you.
Be like Zach.
Oh, I mean, I do these kind of baths all the time. Let's be
I know.
The other thing you can do, which I finally did for the first time, is make some moon water.
Yes, you did.
Super simple. You can either put some water on your windowsill where the full moon will hit it, or put it outside. Let it soak for like 48 hours and really soak up that high energy. So in case you need energy or cleansing boosts throughout the rest of the cycle, you're good. You got some on deck. And then finally, what's up?
I was going to say, okay, so then give people recommendations of what you do with your moon water.
Well, you're taking those words right out of my mouth.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Because we already know that the moon and water are tied energetically, right? Yes. They control it, or the moon controls water. Mm-hmm. So now that you have your charged moon water, you can use it to cleanse your crystals.
Okay.
You can use it to water your plants. It's supposed to have higher nutrients for your plant growing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You can actually add it to a spray bottle to cleanse a room, sort of like a sage spray. Wash your house with it to get rid of all the negativity that's settled. Or if you're really feeling it, you can drink it. Although if you're going to be drinking your moon water, I would either have it sealed when you put it outside or do some filtering.
Yeah, I don't know why that just like doesn't. I don't know how.
I know.
I don't know why that feels so weird.
Try it at your own risk. Disclaimer, don't come for us if, I don't know, you grow like a third limb or something. But okay, so that's the full moon. We got all the celebrating, the cleansing, the reflecting, the high energy, the weirdness that goes on. We're going to come back to the full moon once we get through the cycle, because there's the oddity stuff I want to touch on there too.
Okay.
But now we get into the wax off portion of the cycle, or the waning portion.
Waning.
So this is going to be exactly the opposite of where we've gone. So we're going to go the waning gibbous, 3/4 of the moon available, except now the moon is on the left and the shadow's on the right.
Okay.
And your keyword here is gratitude.
Oh, okay.
So the themes surrounding this moon phase are gratitude, generosity, and enthusiasm. It's a perfect time to reevaluate your goals for the rest of the cycle, and then feel grateful and feel like the full joy of your efforts that you put in through the first half.
Cute.
If the full moon is the energetic high, right, as we're coming through now the waning phases, that the energy for the month is starting to draw back a little bit, or you're going back into the blackness of the new moon. So during this phase, you want to continue that release of the full moon, but maybe be a little bit less active, a little bit less introspective. And now you're trying to figure out what you're grateful for. So over the last couple of weeks, what are you happy that's changed? What have you added to your life? What are you grateful for getting rid of? Right.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So with that gratitude, gratitude is often seen, especially in metaphysical, as being the highest form of energy. So as you're starting to draw back down, you can continue to make ways towards your goals by focusing on that gratefulness to keep your energy levels up.
Got it.
Good time also to look back on lessons you've learned so far and realizing how it's going to help you continue to reach your goals.
Okay.
All right. So then we got the last quarter. This is back to the half of the moon in the sky. Yep. Shadow on the right, moon on the left. I want to do it backwards because I just feel like having it on the left at the end feels wrong. I don't know.
Wait, what did you say this one was called?
This is the last quarter or third quarter.
Okay.
The word for this one is release. The theme of this cycle is release, letting go, and forgiving. So it's time to clean up, finish your projects, give up the rest of your bad habits, It's a good time to leave anything behind that you no longer need. So we're getting really now like pretty low energy again. So it's the time to look back. Okay, I've accomplished a lot of things. Is there anything I need to forgive myself for? Is there anything I need to forgive other people for? Because we're getting ready to start a new cycle. I don't want to bring any negativity with me.
Right.
And while you're doing that and working on the release, right, look back at what you harvested during the full moon and see if there's anything you have excess of and can also give away to people. So you're not just releasing the negativity, but you're releasing your excess of what you don't need. So how can I help during this period? How can I give back?
Okay.
Because you don't want to bring anything unresolved with you into a new cycle.
No. You never want to go to bed angry.
Never, ever. All right. So we're back to the little fingernail-shaped moon. We're now into the waning crescent. Moon's still on the left, shadows on the right. You're seeing just a little sliver of it left. And this is when you surrender. All right. So description from the planner. This is the final phase of the lunar cycle. So it's time to be still and be at peace, not pushing yourself. Rest, focus, and reflect. There is not much you can do now as to accept and surrender until the new moon comes again. All right, so the last 3.5 days, you're done. You've done everything you could do. You've expended all the energy. So they say it's a really bad time to try to keep pushing through projects because you're just going to create frustration. And
you're like worn out almost, maybe like.
Right. This is where you do like your self-care. You're recharging. So you don't want to force yourself into actions. The moon's literally looking at you and being like, bro, chill. Take it easy.
Bro.
Take a bath. Listen
Relax.
to a podcast. Like do some yoga if you're really feeling it.
There you
right?
go. Get that face mask on.
And while you're doing that, you might want to start writing down your new intentions that you want to continue to work on, because just a couple days away from starting all over at the new moon.
Okay, let me ask you a question. If you're done explaining these.
Yeah.
Okay. Then what would you say is your favorite phase of the moon?
Ooh. Okay. I will tell you, but I'm going to tell you at the end because just so you know what's coming. So I wanted to go into all that, right? Because I think it's really interesting to see like the metaphysical properties of the moon. It's just really just like it's less of, ooh, the moon's causing you to do this. It's more of just,
right,
how can I ground myself and track what I want to change about myself throughout the year?
Yeah.
So my favorite moon phase is going to be related to something called the lunar return, but that's a nice little positive note. And what I have for you next are some dark, creepy stories. Okay. So I'll save my favorite to lighten things up.
Sounds good. Let's go.
Cool. All right. Going back to the full moon, right? A lot of what we focus on for the moon phases really focus on like just the energy roller coaster and how to handle yourself through it. But we all know that since ancient times, the full moons have been associated with like insane behavior from people.
Mm-hmm.
So you see a lot of sleepwalking, suicide, illegal activity, violence, just people acting like crazy Karens, werewolves, all of it. Fun fact for you here. The words lunacy and lunatic.
Stop it right now.
Come from the Roman goddess of the moon, Luna, who was said to ride her silver chariot across the dark sky each night. She was the moon. Everybody
right now is thinking, duh. Not like they knew it, but like, duh. That makes sense. I had that moment
while researching this. So lunatics, lunar, it's like it's related to the moon. So like we said, some of that could be from that shadow self really coming out, those things bubbling up. It could be from the high energy of the moon, whatever. You're just not sleeping because it's too bright. I don't know what the answer is, but I found some crazy fucked up stories that I want to share with you. Now, a little thing I want to add in here too is I think part of what happens during this time too, while that energy is so high, the moon is definitely related to our ancestors, and I think the veil gets thinner when the full moon is out. So
I agree.
Are you ready?
I've been ready. Let's go.
Okay. Our first one is from Cutie Girl 1234 on Reddit.
Okay, and Cutie Girl.
Cutie Girl is telling us the story.
I'm going to call you that. That's so cute. Cutie Girl.
Cutie Girl. It's called Don't Go to Sleep When There's a Full Moon.
Oh. Well, I'm gonna.
So it starts off with, I loved my house growing up. I had a huge backyard. It is about the size of a football field, which is crazy because it was in a suburb neighborhood. In my backyard, there's a huge wooden playground with a treehouse, swings, and a slide.
Rich.
There is a garden, a grove of citrus trees, a trampoline, a shred, and so much more. But at the very back of the property, you can see a horse trail. Every day, horses and their riders would come by on the trail. My younger brother Ryan and I used to love to watch the horses. When I turned 5, I began kindergarten, and in kindergarten, I met my still to this day best friend, Brenna. She and I did everything together, and we spent a lot of time in my backyard on the trampoline. One night, we decided to have a sleepover. It was summer, and the air was still very hot. We lived in a safe neighborhood in California, so Brenna and I decided to sleep on the trampoline. We wanted to stay away from my stepmother as much as possible, which I love. So we had the lights of the full moon to help us see, and we decided to stay up late. At about 11:59, Brenna and I heard the sound of hooves beating down the trail.
Oh.
I had never heard or seen horses and their riders out this late, so we climbed up high into the treehouse to watch the horse and its riders as it went by. We sat in the tree and waited for them to appear, and when we finally did, it was the creepiest thing I've ever seen in my life. There was no rider. The, and then in quotes, horse, as we call it, had a human body with horse legs and a huge horse head. The head was big and brown with dark black eyes and long black hair.
Wait. Hold on. You said a human body?
A human, like torso and arms, horse legs, like its legs or
but still a horse head?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So this horse, in quotes again, was about 12 feet tall. Where hands and feet should have been, there were hooves. I freaked out. I grabbed Brenna and ducked down so that the thing could not see us. I knew I was not imagining anything, though, because Brenna saw it as well. When the horse became level with the treehouse, it stopped. It turned its head slowly, and its eyes flashed green, and then it was gone. It gets weirder. Okay, so at first I thought my brother was playing tricks on me. Since he talked about full moons so much, I figured he was trying to scare me and my friend. But that was not the case, because this thing disappeared into thin air. Poof, it was gone. Trying to be brave, we ran out and went to look down the horse trail to see if we could see anything. We saw nothing, except for the hoof prints.
Yeah.
Then, as we continued to look, we noticed a little gold ring with a glowing green gem in the middle, laying right in the trail near where the horse disappeared.
That's it?
Nope. So let me ask you this here, though. Would you wear the ring?
I have a couple thoughts so far, so let me get them out. First, I was thinking a centaur, but centaurs don't have horse heads. They have human heads. That's why I had to ask you.
Yeah, it's like the opposite of a centaur.
Kind of, yeah. Okay. Then, why do people say that they're trying to be brave? Like, what is brave about that? To me, that's just stupid. You know what I mean? Like, people are like, I was trying to be brave. So for what? What's it going to get you?
Curiosity just gets the best of you.
Yeah, that's not bravery. That's just curiosity.
Okay.
Anyway, no, I wouldn't fucking wear that ring.
Okay, well, these idiots did. Right. So this does end before the ring. I would write more things about this ring, but every time I've begun to write here, my computer suddenly logs me out. This has happened 3 times already. I get it halfway written, and then my computer logs out, and I have to start again.
Because you're not supposed to be talking about the ring.
Not supposed to be talking about it. Anyways, basically it goes on for about 10 more paragraphs of her and Brenna either trying to give their ring to friends who wanted it or whatnot, and it kept showing back at their houses. They would throw it out and it would show up at the other one's house until finally they flushed it and it had not shown back up. Okay,
what I was going to say when you said, would you wear it? No, but would I maybe like put it on a chain and wear it like on the chain? Maybe, especially if it keeps coming back. Like to me, it's like, what?
Yeah, it was almost meant for them.
Yeah, like
because nothing about this whole thing gave totally negative vibes.
No,
I mean it's creepy. I'll give it to them. It's creepy.
Well, okay, it's scary because what the fuck did you just witness? Right? Like that's crazy. But it's not like it didn't like really seem like malicious or threatening. It just kind of bopped in, left a present,
and bopped out,
went on its way. So it's like,
and that present ain't going away.
See, now if I were them, you and I would be researching the ring, like what kind of gems in it, sure. Like what,
and we'd put it in a glass box until we knew,
right?
And dunk it in moon water.
That's interesting.
All right, are you ready for the second story?
Yeah, I mean
this one. No, so I tried to find like a couple different themes. So the first one was more like paranormal, cryptidy. Our second one, I'm gonna go like dimensional slip, but you let me know your thoughts.
Okay.
So this is bleeding moon witnessed by 2 people. Before I share my story with you, I want to say this is a story I usually only share with people who know me. It sounds crazy, and if I wasn't with somebody who witnessed it, I would think I was hallucinating it. Anyways, here's the true story that happened 15 years ago. A friend and I decided to go to a diner for a late night meal. We were both home, and one of us texted the other to see if they wanted to get something to eat. I ended up driving, I picked up my friend, and we went to a diner in Fort Lee, New Jersey. We went to this particular diner because my friend was friends with somebody who used to work there. Anyways, we were both super disappointed in our food. It was poorly made, even by New Jersey diner standards, which I love the little dig. Neither of us finished our meal, and we decided to head home. While driving, I got distracted by our conversation on how bad the food was and made my right turn too early. I turned onto Route 4, but I wanted to go onto Route 46 instead. Since we were in no rush and neither of us thought it was a big deal, I decided to keep going. I saw an exit to Grand Ave, which is where I wanted to go from Route 46, so I took it. However, it didn't take us where we were expecting. I thought maybe if we kept driving, we would eventually pass through a part of Grand Avenue we recognized. We quickly realized we were in an odd place. I say this because we were driving in the woods. This part of New Jersey is right outside of New York City and is very developed. As we're driving, we started to see abandoned cars to the left of us. They didn't look old or beat up.
I have goosebumps.
Oh yeah, this one, it gets goosebumpier as we go. We were questioning why somebody would leave their car there, and then suddenly we see a police car up ahead. I figured we would go to the officer and ask for directions, or at least find out where we were. As we approached the police car, we noticed all its lights are on, and the driver door was open, but nobody was inside.
Oh no.
Now we started to seriously wonder what the fuck is going on. So the road up ahead curves, and the trees block our view of what's ahead. I see a red light coming through the trees and figure we're close to civilization again. As we finish the curve, I realize that the red light is coming from the moon. This was no ordinary moon. It covered the entire sky. It seemed so close you could see all of its craters easily, and what looked to be like rivers of blood were flowing over the surface.
Ugh.
The best I can describe this is to imagine a volcano spewing blood. I am watching all this while driving in silence. I say to myself that my food must have been drugged, or I'm having a mental breakdown, or a severe case of food poisoning.
Right, because you said they only missed, they didn't miss.
They missed one turn. They thought they'd be able to find their way, and it's just like,
right, but it's
never
only
gets
one
familiar.
street, like ahead or behind, whatever. So it's not like.
Think of it though, of like if you get off the highway, like an exit down, and you're trying to get back to where you were. So
right, that's what I'm saying. It's not that
difficult,
right?
Yeah.
It's not far. None of this makes sense.
No. So I tell myself I'm not going to mention what I'm seeing. I drop my friend off at home and then drive. I'm going to drop him at home and then drive myself to a hospital. As I'm observing the bloody moon that appears so close that it will crash into the earth, and I'm pondering what's wrong with me, my friend, after several moments of silence, says, "We're going to die." I ask him why he would say that, and he looks at me and says, "Do you not see the moon? It looks like it's covered in blood and going to crash into it and kill us all."
Ooh.
Now, I have a huge sense of relief as I realize I'm not hallucinating.
But now you think you're going to die.
We both can see the hallucination at the same time. I tell him the truth about why I stayed silent when I saw it. I describe what I see, and he points out various parts of the moon, and we both quickly come to the conclusion that we're looking at the same thing. Oddly enough, we were extremely calm. I explained that I don't believe that we are looking at the moon, because if it was truly as close as it appeared, we would be experiencing gravitational effects. We both agree that death is at hand. I love that phrase. Yeah, we're going to die. But they're like calm about it.
Which is
so creepy. Some time passes, and the road has another steep curve. The trees block out the sky, and the red light from the moon continues to shine from them. After driving through the curve, though, the woods abruptly end. I stop the car, and we both look behind us. The bloody moon is gone. I tell my friends this doesn't make sense, and we need to go back into the woods. He, and this is my little comment here, being the smart one, refuses and demands to be dropped off at home. I do so, but then I duplicate the drive I made earlier to try to get back to this eerie place. I couldn't even find the woods again. The exit to Grand Ave didn't lead me to the same place as before. For the next several days, I drive around and I go through Yahoo Maps to try to find the woods the best I can, but I can't find anything even remotely close to it.
That time slip feels like it was very apocalyptic wherever you ended up. But I don't know if this is like a real thing or if this is just from practical magic, like blood on the moon. Like there's blood on the moon just means like there's trouble around the corner. Or there's like trouble coming. I don't know if that's like a real thing or if that's just from the movie Practical Magic. But
I've heard that before, but
that's what that makes me think of, like what they were seeing.
A lot of like old soldiers and stuff used to think that too. Like the red skies and the red moons were like a sign like conflict is coming.
Yeah. So,
but this is really like creepy. So weird. They found like some creepy woods. It almost seems like alternate dimension. Like somehow they slipped into it. But just back out through another curve and then can't find it again.
Like the abandoned cars, like the cop car with the door open. Like it just feels like apocalyptic or something. Like what happened? Like what took over this or ran everybody out of wherever this dimension is.
So weird. Okay. Last one I have for you. And because it's a full moon story, we have to go into an ER story.
Oh, thank God.
Oh, I wouldn't say that. Full moons and Friday nights always spell trouble.
Oh, no.
This all happened back when I worked as an emergency department nurse at the hospital in my hometown. Oh, I'm so sorry. The last one was from a user named Tumblr01.
I was actually going to ask you if you gave us the name.
And then this one is J Group, JGRUPE. Okay, so J Group says, this all happened when I worked as an emergency department nurse at the hospital in my hometown. We saw lots of sad cases, a lot of horrible things, but this incident stuck with me for the rest of my life. I saw what's on the other side that night, and it scared the living shit out of me. It was a Friday night and a full moon on top of that. Just ask any nurse what this means, and they'll tell you. It's not a myth, but a real fact of the job. People get weird, and on Friday nights, too, you double it. Sure enough, just as we're getting ready to go for a break, a head-on collision rolls in. 2 passengers, 1 driver. Another EMS was on the way with the driver from the other car. There was only one sole occupant of that vehicle who reeked of alcohol. Straight from the back of the ambulance, they came to us. It was a mother and a father, as well as their young daughter, only about 10 years old. I won't get into specifics, but they were all in pretty bad shape. We had a small window of time where we could take our shortened breaks, since we were short-staffed and crowded. All the nurses were starving and exhausted, so we buddied up and went off to rest for a little while. I was getting the impression that the family would survive, but they still needed to be monitored very closely, so I went down to nap while my partner kept an eye on them. I told my coworker, Sarah, to wake me up if anything happened or if they needed my help. I was working an extended shift the day before, I was exhausted and just needed to take a short nap. After wheeling a stretcher into a storage room, I turned off the lights and quickly fell asleep, and a blanket from the warming cabinet wrapped snugly around me. However, my dreams were terrible, and I kept feeling like someone was standing over me, watching me while I slept, talking quietly in a young girl's voice.
Oh, no.
I realized she was calling out, Mommy, where are you?
No.
And repeating that and getting louder. Finally, a piercing scream woke me from my slumber, and I sat bolt upright on the stretcher and in the darkened room. But there was somebody there with me. She was standing between me and the light switch. Part of me knew right away, but I still had to see for myself. My heart thumping in my jugular and in my chest, beating heavy against my ribs. I reached for my phone, set my hand down on a shelf and couldn't find it. Patting the area, my fingers brushed against it. I grabbed a hold of it and was able to turn on the flashlight. The person was quiet now, and I almost convinced myself it was just a nightmare, if not for the sounds of shuffling feet and frustrated breathing. So I unlocked my phone, turned on the flashlight app, and that little girl was standing right there in front of me. She had her hands at her sides, and I noticed her bottom lip was quivering with despair. Her pale face was looking at me as if pleading for help. That was when my mind registered for a split second, then it was gone. Or this was what my mind registered for a split second, then it was gone. Vanished like the smoke from a blown out candle. So I ran out of that room, straight back to the nurse's station, knowing that that little girl was having a tough time and that maybe I could still save her if it wasn't too late. All I needed to do was look at the faces of my coworkers to know exactly what happened. The little girl had passed away. Their eyes were full of tears, and Sarah came over and gave me a hug.
That is wild.
All I could say was, I just saw her. I told them she was in the storage room. She asked me where her mom was.
That's heartbreaking.
Totally heartbreaking. It goes on a little bit longer. So Sarah and my other coworkers dropped their jaws. They could see by the look on my face that I was serious and that I had already known she was dead before they told me. An hour or so later, after that all happened, Sarah went to take a rest. I was tasked with looking after her patient while she went to go eat something. One of her patients was the drunk driver who had killed the little girl and severely injured her parents. He was sleeping soundly.
Oh, great. Good for him.
So I began to do some documentation. It was a little after 3 a.m. by that point, and things had seemed to calm down. But surely enough, I began to hear the sound coming from inside that patient's room. Sounded like a voice talking. A little girl, I realized as I got closer. My feet were stepping forward of their own accord at that point. I seemed to have no control as I was carried into the room. I looked to the man in the bed, and then I looked to the little girl who stood near the window pointing at him. She cast no reflection in the glass behind her, and on the other side of the bed, closest to me, there was a large shadow. Its edges still ill-defined, but vaguely humanoid, seeming to move and gust in the air currents and then hovering over the man's face. That's him, said the little girl, pointing at the man in the bed. He's the one who took my mommy and daddy from me. Whatever that cloud was suddenly descended, covering the man's face like a pitch-black swarm of bees. Where his eyes had been a second before, I could only see a shadow. His legs began to jerk. His feet began to kick. His arms flew up and down as I called for help. Just as that fog had appeared around his face, it disappeared with the little girl. They both turned into nothing, ascended through the ceiling tiles, and vanished from my sight.
Oh my God, I have goosebumps.
That one, I almost lost sleep over that. It freaked me out.
So was she like suffocating him?
It looked like there was like another entity that came in to
like suffocating almost.
Make him struggle. Of course, he ends up surviving. Both the parents do, but that little girl unfortunately doesn't make it.
That is so sad.
Yeah. Okay, so 3 pretty heavy stories. I feel like we hit all sorts of.
So what's your favorite moon?
Right, so I don't want to leave it that dark. So before I go into my favorite moon, we're going to talk real quickly about the lunar return. So...
Oh, yeah.
Anytime that you're talking about a astrological return or return in your chart means that the heavens are in the same placement that they were when you were born. So a lunar return is simply the moon phase that you were in at the time you were born. So while everyone has like the same overarching themes of the moon phase, your specific phase will speak more strongly to you compared to other people. So it's like your moon birthday.
Okay.
So during that time, you have a stronger intuition. You're more in tune with your own senses, instincts, and emotions. But it also kind of has a full moon effect where during that phase, your shadow self might come out or you might act like a little bit erratic. So you should definitely use that as a point of introspection. Use it as your monthly reset if you know your lunar return. But pay attention to like the signs and synchronicities and strangeness that plays out during that time. So for me, mine is the waning crescent phase.
Oh, okay.
Which I think is really funny because, and I'm going to say that's my favorite moon phase because I need to get better with it. Because I don't do well with sitting still and doing nothing.
No, you don't.
It makes my emotions go crazy. And I think there's like some truth to that, being that it's my lunar return. But I'm going to say it's my favorite because it's my phase. So yours, I looked it up from your birthday. Yours is in the waxing crescent.
Okay.
And to go over that one, so the what the planner says about that one again is, this period boasts energy and positivity in taking the first steps in implementing goals and plans. Follow your dreams and goals, have fun along the way, spend this time breathing new life into your intention. So yours is the one right after the new moon when you're supposed to get into action.
Got it.
How do you feel about that? Do you think that speaks to you? Do you feel like you feel any sort of way?
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know.
Like, it's hard to notice without paying attention.
Yeah.
So now that you do know it, you're going to have to, like, pay attention. And
yeah.
Get back to me.
I would say, like, if I had to pick what my favorite one is, I think I like... Was it the waning gibbous was for gratitude? I think that's what you said. Like, that's when you were like, I think that... Whatever the gratitude. Yeah, that one.
Waning gibbous is gratitude. So waning grabbus.
Waning grabbus. I like that one just because I feel like everyone can have a little bit more gratitude in their life. But also, I'm a full moon girly because I like the werewolves. I like the weird. But
I figured you'd go full moon.
Yeah, but I also kind of like the shadow shadow of
I feel like that's something I haven't done much research on, and I want to get more into the shadow work. I want
to, because it keeps popping up. Like I keep hearing more about it, and I want to.
Probably because we both have a shit ton of shadow work to do.
We do.
We got some demons to work through. All right, so we're gonna go work on that. We're gonna go figure out what the hell is wrong with us. But everyone, pay attention to your moon cycles. Look up your lunar returns if you want. There's some links in the notes below. But yeah, let us know. What do you what are your thoughts on the moon cycle? Do you believe in it? Do you think it's all a bunch of bullshit? Do you have any crazy full moon stories? Let us know.
It's just a bunch of hocus pocus.
Oh my goodness. All right, Kara, what else do you want them to do?
What was I supposed to call you? Cutie what?
Cutie girl 1 2 3 4.
Cutie girl. Cutie girl. Just give us stuff. Nobody's been really giving us stuff lately.
Oh, we got one on Instagram today. We'll have to pull through that and see. I just saw it right before we started recording.
They didn't message us yet.
Oh, okay.
Unless you opened it, but I've been waiting.
But yeah, we could do another paranormal postcard episode. If you guys write us some more stories. Leave a review if you want.
Yeah, please do that. Share with friends, share with your mom. Our moms listen, so your moms will listen. So just how it works.
Yeah, there you go.
Just how it works. Okay, I'm delusional and tired, so I gotta go.
Do I need to say it? Like, subscribe.
Tell
subscribe. Kara she's pretty.
Sure, do all the things that we ask of you, but most importantly, creep it real, you oddballs.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Oddity Shop.